Now it's time for the Nissan Countdown to Kickoff. Sponsored by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Yingling Traditional Lager. Elevate your taste. Spread your wings. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
You are looking inside of Heinz Field, all the history of Pittsburgh Steelers football throughout the years, the black and yellow, so many fans hyped for Monday Night Football, but for the Miami Dolphins tonight, it's all about trying to get that first win of the season some way, somehow, but the Dolphins will have to do it without one of their more dynamic players of the last couple of seasons. Kenyon Drake traded today to Arizona. Remember, the last time the Dolphins won a football game was the Miami Miracle last year against the New England Patriots. Drake had that dramatic touchdown to beat Tom Brady and the Pats. Will now traded to Arizona for a conditional 6th-round pick that could end up a 5th-round pick. But the bottom line, the Dolphins shifting again in that rebuilding, sending away another talented player as part of the rebuilding plan. All right, let's bring you out here to Heinz Field. Will Manso, so happy you could join us on this Nissan Countdown to Kickoff. And yes, you're going to see a lot of these tonight. The terrible towels all around Pittsburgh and inside of Heinz Field. But unfortunately in South Florida, we've been waving some different terrible towels for different reasons. The Dolphins have been terrible, off to an 0-6 start. What can change tonight? Could they get any kind of positive momentum? And for the Steelers, they want the momentum of trying to get back in the playoff chase in the AFC. We break all that down right now in our Yingling matchup. In the spotlight of Monday Night Football, you can throw the records out. But in this case, you really want to throw them out. The Dolphins are winless. At 0-6, they've only come close to a win one time, falling short a couple of weeks ago against Washington in the final seconds.
Quick to Drake, he dropped it.
For the Steelers, they have a couple of wins, but at 2-4 and without quarterback Ben Roethlisberger for the rest of the year because of an elbow injury, this season has been a massive disappointment. Yet, these two struggling teams will get the national attention tonight. And for the Dolphins, they're hoping the bright lights can bring that first win.
It's a chance for you to go out there with everybody having the opportunity to watch you and to go play. So I think it's cool. It's fun to be on the national stage like that and be showcased in a game for a night. And once you start playing, everything's the same. I mean, it's just a game, but it's going to be a great atmosphere.
While Ryan Fitzpatrick and Miami have been on a QB carousel through 6 games, with the veteran and Josh Rosen each getting chances to start, the Steelers have been shuffling quarterbacks for different reasons. Big Ben's injury gave Mason Rudolph the job, but he suffered a scary-looking concussion, and little-known Devlin Hodges has been the QB since, while Rudolph recovers. The Dolphins haven't been able to recover from slow starts in most of their games. Miami has been outscored by a whopping 148 points. No other NFL team is even close. But the last 2 weeks, they've also been seeing progress from within.
I feel like we went out there and executed everything the coach told us to execute. I feel like we're definitely getting better on the areas that we struggled on in the game.
So maybe this matchup doesn't have the look of an instant classic. But for both teams, the bottom line is not just improving, but trying to get a win, no matter how ugly things have been. Oh, they have been ugly. Let's bring in my partner, Clay Ferraro, back home in South Florida from our Pembroke Park studios. And Clay, let's start with the news of the day, and that's the trade of Kenyon Drake. We talked on Sports Sunday last night. Drake didn't make the trip, so it's not surprising the Dolphins were looking to move him. But as far as the return they get and what this signals moving forward, what do you take about Drake being traded to Arizona?
Well, first off, I thought you were about to say, speaking of ugly, let's bring in Clay Ferraro from our Pembroke Park studio.
You notice
so
I skipped that part.
Yeah, you tried. As for Kenyon Drake, look, I think he's somebody who we've known for a while is very, very talented, but for whatever reason, and it's not just this coaching staff, no Dolphins coaches have figured out a way to implement him into the offense in a way that utilizes his skill set to the best of his ability. We know that he can catch the football. We know he can run with the football. But, Will, we've also seen a lot of mistakes. Yes, he can catch it, but he's also had a lot of drops. He's also been a guy who has had trouble with fumbling in the past. Now, he goes to Arizona. He can be kind of that outlet for a brand-new quarterback who's getting really, really good in Kyler Murray. He's going to serve them better than he would have the Dolphins for the rest of the season. Well, what this does, Will, it opens things up in a big way for Mark Walton.
Yeah, and I saw the former Kane working out pregame a little earlier, and he understands the opportunity that he has. Look, this is a tryout for so many Dolphins in a sense of trying to prove yourself to be part of this rebuild and for the future. We know the Dolphins are acquiring all these picks to try to rebuild this franchise, but there has to be somebody left over. And I think to your point, Kenyon Drake didn't fit here for whatever reason it may be. I think he's a talented player, whether it's Arizona or somewhere else. He'll have success, but the Dolphins have moved on. Now, the quarterback situation we know is the spot where they're looking to improve in the future. But in the immediate, as far as the game tonight, Ryan Fitzpatrick is again the starter. Ryan Fitzpatrick, we know what you get from him. You get that Fitzmagic, you get his ability to move around and throw the ball, make plays. And I think I have to agree with Brian Flores in this point, Clay. If you're looking to win football games, yes, right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick is probably the guy who gives you the best shot to try to win a game.
He does, and you and I have kind of gone back and forth on this. I would have liked to have seen Josh Rosen play out the rest of the year because I want to see what you've got in him. He is somebody who other teams may covet more to potentially trade for down the line. But you're right. If you're going to go out there to try to win a game right now, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Fitzpatrick is the guy, he's either really, really hot like he was at the end of that Washington game, or he can be really, really cold and turn over the football. So, look, if you get that Fitz magic, you get the good Ryan Fitzpatrick, you may have a shot at a win tonight.
It's fun. Yeah, and I agree. And look, we were talking about it from Brian Flores' perspective, but when I step back, whether it be as a journalist or a fan that's watching, yes, losses are good for this team if you really want to get that top overall pick, which Dolphins know is part of the plan. And that would probably mean playing the younger guy and letting Josh Rosen throw through the bumps of an NFL season. But Brian Flores has gone back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. It would help either quarterback to have an offensive line. It would help either quarterback to have a defense that makes stops. And right now, when you look at this team, look, there's a lot we can discuss when it comes to poor offensive play. But, Clay, this defense has been awful. They're at 35 points on average allowed per game. They don't create turnovers. They don't make it easier on the offense, and they're a big reason why this team is 0-6.
Well, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of blame to go all the way around. And now, if you do look at some of this video here, there's a lot from the first couple of games, Baltimore, New England. You've seen incremental improvements with this defense, Will, but as you mentioned, it's not nearly enough to put a team out on the field consistently that can compete to win a ball game. I do have faith that they're going to learn over time, Brian Flores' system, and find a way to get better, but, Will, they're not there right now, and I think they're going to have to add a few pieces over the next couple of years in those drafts, not just at quarterback, but also on defense to get there.
Yeah, to your point, it's about personnel more than it is about scheme. There are some nice pieces. Xavier Howard obviously signed long-term, a Pro Bowl quarterback who may play tonight. He's questionable. We'll find out soon enough. But also, you've got Jerome Baker and other pieces. But the bottom line is most of the pieces that'll make up the future of this team, and in particular on defense, will likely come via the draft and free agency. Clay, we're going to talk more with you, of course, throughout the program here, but our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff will continue. When we come back, you got to eat. Whether win or lose, as a fan, you got to eat, and who better to learn some tips to cooking pregame than South Florida's own Michelle Bernstein. We go one-on-one to get a nice recipe from the SoFlo Taste host coming your way. But first, when we come back, how about Tua Tagovailoa? That's the name everyone in South Florida is talking about. What is tank for Tua? Who is Tua? And why should Dolphins want him? Clay delves into his play and all the quarterbacks that have called this job in Miami their job since the days of Dan Marino, when our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff, coming your way from Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football, comes your way next. Welcome back to Pittsburgh inside Heinz Field for our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff, getting you ready for Monday Night Football between the Dolphins and the Steelers. Pittsburgh has been the home of so many championships, some great quarterbacks from Terry Bradshaw to Ben Roethlisberger, and there's a guy who called Pittsburgh home, happens to be in town, very popular in this town, and that would be the great Dan Marino, the Miami Dolphins legend, such a big part of Pittsburgh history for his days here playing for the Pitt Panthers. But as far as the Dolphins, they're still to this day looking for the man to replace it. Is that man Tua Tagovailoa? Let's go back to South Florida, bring in our Clay Ferraro, who's got more on this whole tank for Tua that we're always talking about. And is Tua actually the guy worth it to be that guy to tank for? Clay?
Well, Will, it's been a rough season for the Dolphins and for their fans. But as the old saying goes, no pain, no gain. And the Finns are hoping that this short-term suffering will pay off in a few months. It's been 7,591 days since Dan Marino walked off the field for the last time as a Dolphin. Since then, the team has rolled out 21 different starting quarterbacks, from Beck to Thigpen, and only one of them has won a playoff game, Jay Fiedler, almost 19 years ago. Since Marino, the Fins have only drafted one quarterback in the first round, Ryan Tannehill, in 2012. 7 years of trying to build around Tannehill only led to more mediocrity. So the Fins pulled the plug, not just on Tannehill, but on head coach Adam Gase and Vice President Mike Tannenbaum. Owner Stephen Ross decided on a different approach in 2019.
We've been operating under a philosophy that we had a good young roster and it needed maybe free agents and draft choices, and we'd be very competitive. To keep operating under that philosophy is really be like the definition of insanity.
Without using the word, the Dolphins are tanking. Not on the field, the players who are still here are trying their best every time out, but the Fins have traded away just about every player who had trade value. Why now? Why has the team assembled one of the worst rosters in NFL history? It's all about the quarterback. One of the worst-kept secrets in football over the last year plus is that the Dolphins have their eye on Tua Tagovailoa of Alabama. In fact, Tua himself has even heard the "Tank for Tua" tagline.
I hear it here and there, but it's flattering. But, if everyone's saying tank for Tua now, and then we end up losing, the rest of the season, all our games, they won't be there saying it again. So
to guarantee they get Tua, assuming he enters the draft, the Dolphins have to get the first pick in the draft. And to do that, they have to finish with the worst record in the league. And Tua isn't the only quarterback this year. This class is loaded with names like Justin Herbert from Oregon, Jake Fromm from Georgia, and Joe Burrow from LSU. In fact, some experts believe this may be the best quarterback class since 1983, when a strong-arm signal caller from Pittsburgh was selected by the Miami Dolphins.
In my opinion, I think I'm the best of the bunch.
And not a lot of people would argue with Dan about that from 1983. And, well, there are several other teams vying for the worst record in the league right now. Washington, who the Dolphins lost to. The Jets, who the Fins will play coming up soon. But the big one to watch could be the Bengals, who the Dolphins play December 22nd in what I guess we'll call Tua Bowl 2.
We need to find a way to get the rights to that one, because that's the biggest game of the year right there. The Tank for Tua Bowl. See how they can figure that out. It is a big time game. But when you come to Tua Tagovailoa, Clay, and the player that he is, I buy into the Tank for Tua. To me, he is the most dynamic player in college football. I think his game will translate well to the NFL. And I think if the Dolphins do secure that top pick, barring any kind of injury or something unforeseen in the next few months, he should be that top pick.
No, I agree with you, and he has suffered another ankle injury. He had to have that high ankle surgery last week, and so I think there are some injury concerns there, but look at him throw. Beyond the injuries, there's no doubt he's the first quarterback in this draft that's going to be off the board. Now, as I mentioned, there are a few other really good quarterbacks who are going to be available, but there's no doubt the Dolphins want their pick. They want to pick their guy. They don't want to pick who's left when somebody takes somebody else number one. So if you're going to do that, you got to get that first pick, and right now they're on their way to doing that.
Yeah, tough one against Cincinnati. That's going to be the big one. All right, Clay, we'll chat with you more in just a minute. When we come back here, though, on our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff, we're going to meet a young man who calls Pittsburgh home now but grew up in South Florida, Devin Bush, star young linebacker for the Steelers as a rookie. I caught up with him recently in what was an honor for him at his alma mater back in South Florida. But first, I go cooking with the one and only Michelle Bernstein. She's cooking up a nice recipe to tailgate to. Hey, Dolphins, if you're a little down about the struggles of this team of late, don't worry. Mishy's got the great recipe that'll make you feel much better. We've got it for you in our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff from Pittsburgh. Getting you ready for Monday Night Football continues. Welcome back here to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh for our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff show. I'm Will Manso. We're taking up the game time here for Monday Night Football on Local 10 between the Dolphins and the Steelers. And we've spent a good portion of the show already talking X's and O's, talking football. But look, when you're 0-6 and you're struggling and the Dolphins are making so many moves that they don't seem to be getting better, we got to have some fun as well. And what better way to have fun than to eat, something all football fans love to do, especially before the game. So I thought who can I go to get the perfect recipe for some tailgating, some good food during the game? And the first name that popped to mind was the great chef Michelle Bernstein back home in South Florida. Does a great job with her SoFlo Taste Show here on Local 10. So I crashed the show to get a nice recipe.
Welcome to SoFlo Taste. Today I thought I'd take a stab at 3 new sandwich dishes that I've actually never encountered before. This is
Michelle,
so exciting. Will?
I'm so sorry to bother you.
I'm in the middle of a show.
I know you're doing SoFlo Taste. I know you're doing a great show, but I need you. I need a huge favor from you. It's great to see you, by the way.
Honey.
It's so good. And I'm so sorry to interrupt.
That's
but
okay.
I'm going to Pittsburgh for Monday Night Football. Dolphins playing the Steelers, prime time.
You need a good luck charm.
I need a good luck charm.
Okay.
So I need you, but I need, more importantly, something delicious to bring to Pittsburgh.
I think I can do that.
You think so?
I think
okay,
I
so
can.
what are we thinking?
I mean, you got to take a piece of Miami, right?
Yes,
So you're
and-
taking a Cuban sandwich.
I love the way you're thinking. I mean, Primanti Brothers is fine. Don't get me wrong. I can deal with that there, but I need something special.
You got it. Done.
Okay.
So let's make my version of a Cuban.
Which is the best version?
Perfect. We have some Cuban bread.
Okay.
I have an aioli that has a little bit of mayonnaise, but it also has some pickled mustard seeds and 2 kinds of mustard. Of course, the yellow that would normally be on a Cuban sandwich, and Dijon. Okay, so I'm just going to spread that out. I just roasted some fresh pork, which is kind of perfect timing.
Perfect timing, yeah.
All good. Okay, so it doesn't have mojo on it, but again, we're making it a little bit differently. So I'll layer that onto the sandwich. And then I have some prosciutto, because why not?
I like the way you're thinking.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Okay, but I also have chorizo. So this is really a totally different version.
Prosciutto, chorizo, pork, your special sauce, and
3 kinds of pork and a special sauce. And then you can't forget the pickles. You want to throw the pickles on there?
Yes.
There's a little tweezer right there.
And this is also good. Look, we love tailgating, and a Dolphins game, again, they're not winning many games. Where do you want to throw them up? Right on there. Dolphins games, we're not winning many games. So tailgating is important.
Let's talk about the positive right now.
Well, the food is the positive, right? Is that too many pickles, or is that good? Did I put too many?
It's up to you. You're
okay,
taking
I
this
like
thing with
pickles.
you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we got Swiss cheese. Okay, great.
Oh yeah, we're good.
All right, so I'm going to close it up. I'm going to throw it on the plancha. Throw a little bit of butter on there.
How long is prep time on this? This is not. Well, you were already working.
If your pork is done,
okay.
there's nothing to it.
Okay.
This could take you about 10 minutes.
Okay.
But if your pork isn't ready, you need 3 hours.
3 hours,
So,
the length of a Dolphins football game, or making this. I like it.
Well, there you go. But of course, you can always buy pork.
So wait, what are you doing? So this is
So I'm pressing the sandwich. You know how you go to any place to get a Cuban sandwich?
You got the
and
press
they
in.
would-
But we don't have one at home, so you just use the.
Right. I don't know about you, but I definitely
I
don't have one at home.
No,
yeah,
I
I
don't.
don't
If you
make
don't
a
have
lot
one,
of
then I
pan
definitely
tostada at my house. So I'm just pressing it to give it a little bit of love and to cause that delicious cheese to melt and make your sandwich even yummier. So what are we hoping for here in Philly?
Well, here's the thing. I know there's some fans that don't want wins. I don't know how much you follow the whole, if the Dolphins lose, it's better for their draft pick.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yeah.
But we are covering the
I
game.
just want my Dolphins to win.
Yes, a
That's
win
all
would
I
be
care
nice,
about.
and a celebratory Cuban sandwich would be nice.
Absolutely.
So I thought we bring good luck. It's probably gonna be chilly. It warms me up a little before the game. Dolphins win, everybody's happy.
You got your sweater with you?
Oh, I've got it packed. Yeah, I've got
Okay,
it packed to go. And I'll have this packed too.
Perfect.
Well, that looks delicious.
All right, so I'm gonna wrap it for you.
This is your special. This is the way you always make it, right? This is your special.
You know, I like to change things up a lot. So this is one way that I make a Cuban.
Chorizo, prosciutto, I mean, that's a pretty good combination. It's
not bad.
It's hard to top.
But also, I usually have a little bit of mojo on my pork, but today I went with a little cure, and so it does taste delicious. So I'll wrap this up for you, amorcito.
Okay.
And wish my team a lot of luck.
I love it. I will send them a lot of luck, and if they win, you're going to have to send them a lot of sandwiches, unfortunately.
I would love that.
It's so good to see you. All right. I'm going to get this with TSA. I'm off to Pittsburgh. Thank you so much.
See you later. Bye, Will. Man, I hope it brings him luck.
Oh, if anyone could bring good luck to the Miami Dolphins, it would be Michelle Bernstein. So kind to show me how to make that Cuban sandwich. But I will say this: I told her I would bring it here and eat it here pregame. I ate it right away. It was that good. And I didn't need a sweater tonight because it's actually a beautiful night in Pittsburgh. You can always catch Michelle Bernstein on Local 10 SoFlo Taste every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. Set your DVR or tune in for all the great recipes, interviews, and good stuff that she has on SoFlo Taste. All right, we hope to have some more good stuff here on our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff show. When we come back, it is the Coach's Corner with another Flo. That would be Brian Flores, who talks about what his team will need to do to get a victory this week. But first, we're going to check in with a current Steelers player, a rookie who's making an impact, who has a special relationship back home in South Florida, having been raised there as a Dolphins fan. We'll hear from Devin Bush and the great honor he recently got at his alma mater when our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff show continues here from Pittsburgh, getting you ready for Dolphins-Steelers on Monday Night Football. Well, it is Halloween week, and the Dolphins corner Eric Rowe feeling in that Halloween spirit as he showed up to Pittsburgh in that little Halloween jacket. I like that look. Dolphins sending that out via their social media. At least you've got to be in the spirit of Halloween. Hopefully it won't be that type of a nightmare night for the Dolphins as this nightmare season continues at 0-6. Will Manso here on the field at Heinz Field. Welcome back to our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff, getting you ready for the Dolphins and Steelers here on Monday Night Football on Local 10. Happy that you can watch. Happy to have the game. For Brian Flores, all he cares about to be happy is to get a win. So let's get to our AT&T Coach's Corner with the coach trying to get that elusive first win as a head coach. Here's a man who's worked so hard throughout his career as an assistant, finally getting this job, and yet here he is 6 games in, still without a victory. He says his team has been oh so close, and they've just got to find a way to finish.
They've heard that before. I think we're at the point here where closer and closer and closer and closer, but at the end of the day, the result isn't what you want. So we've got to do a little bit more. We've got to coach it better. We got to play better. We got to execute better. We got to practice, every situation with the intent to execute those situations in the game in all areas, because I don't know which play it's going to be.
We know which players, though, will be the difference tonight for the Steelers, in particular for this very talented defense. One of those is rookie Devin Bush. South Florida football fans have probably heard of this young man, continuing in a long line of great Steelers defensive players just as a rookie this season. But he went back home during the bye week for a special honor, and I had a chance to catch up with Bush as he was honored by his alma mater.
I appreciate all the love, all the support. I can't thank y'all enough for making this a special moment for me in my career. It's probably the best moment in my life.
Back where it all started, Devin Bush was home. The Steelers linebacker taking the bye week of his rookie season to attend a ceremony at his alma mater, Flanagan High School in Pembroke Pines, to retire his number 11 jersey. It's not that long ago you were here. Mm-hmm. How does it feel to be back and to have your jersey retired tonight?
It's surreal right now, man. I'm trying to take it all in as it goes. Not in a million years when I thought my jersey would get retired, at my high school. It holds a special place in my heart, man, just to be here and be out here and see familiar faces and be at the community. I'm just so super happy and so appreciative to be out here and accept this honor.
A surreal feeling for Bush, who just 7 weeks into his NFL season has made an instant impact as a first-round pick. But as if this moment wasn't special enough, now, just a week later, the chance to play his hometown team in the spotlight of Monday Night Football. What's that going to be like, seeing that Dolphins uniform that you grew up watching?
Yeah, man, it's going to be a dream come true. Just to be able to line up against the Dolphins, a team I always watch, hometown team, and be able to compete against that team, I think it's going to be a great one.
He won't take pity on the team that plays just a few miles from where he grew up. Bush hasn't taken pity on any team during his electric first 2 months in the NFL. He already has 2 interceptions, a sack, 4 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown in just 6 games. Has the transition been as easy as you're making it look, or how has it been for you?
Honestly, I still go through some things personally. I'm still learning more about the game as I go week through week, and learning more about myself as well. So, I think what I did, I'm trying to starting to find a balance. I think that's the biggest thing, is finding the balance.
It is just the beginning of what could end up being a special NFL career. But he'll never forget where it all started, something real special here in South Florida.
I want to be that role model. I want to be that guy that these kids look up to and want to do more with themselves.
What a great young man. You can just hear it in his voice how proud he is to represent South Florida now in the NFL. And he also happens to be a very talented young player for the Steelers defense we'll see here at Heinz Field tonight. All right, when we come back on our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff show, we're going to get to the keys of the game. Will we see Fitz magic tonight? Clay Ferraro will rejoin me. We'll break down what needs to happen tonight for the Fitz to try to get that first victory of the season when our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff continues right after this. Well, we've talked about the tank, and this is the update on the tank, the race to the bottom, we like to call it. The Miami Dolphins are 0-6. As bad as they've been, worst point differential in the league. They're actually not the worst team in the league. That honor currently goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals have played 2 more games. The Dolphins will catch up with 1 more tonight. The Bengals at 0-8. Remember, as Clay referenced earlier, these 2 teams will meet later in the season. Whatever you want to call it, the Tua Bowl, or maybe it's the Toilet Bowl, whatever you want to call it. There's a bad matchup coming up, but that is the way it looks right now in the tank standings. Meanwhile, the way it looks right now for tonight's game, I know a lot of fans don't want the win, but those players behind me certainly do. And let's get to our Nissan keys of the game, and we bring back Clay Ferraro to talk about what needs to happen tonight. Clay, we talked a bit about the Fitz magic and having Ryan Fitzpatrick in at quarterback. You and I both agree, while we may want to see Josh Rosen play more and get that chance throughout the season, if you're Brian Flores and you want to win football games as the head coach, Ryan Fitzpatrick is likely the guy to make it happen tonight.
This is such a strange thing, Will, because we talk about the difference between tanking and then whether it's organizational or with the players on the field. If you are tanking as an organization, sure, you want to lose every single game, you get the first pick. But the players that are involved here, the coaches, the guys whose jobs are on the line, they're not thinking about that. They want to go out there and win these games. And yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick gives you the best chance to win the game if he has a hot Ryan Fitzpatrick game, if he goes out there and has a little bit of Fitz magic. On the other side, he could also throw 3 interceptions in the first quarter and get you down 24-0 by the end of the first quarter. So I get it. If you're trying to win the game, roll the dice that you'll get a good Fitz magic game. But yeah, I mean, you really don't know what to expect.
Yeah, and to your point on Fitzpatrick in particular, as an older guy, look, he doesn't know how often he's going to get these chances, not just as a starter. Here he is in the spotlight. We heard him talk earlier, the spotlight of Monday Night Football, all eyes on you. This could be the last time that ever happens for him, especially as a starter. He wants to play his best, and he gives the Dolphins that chance. And you're right, if he's throwing pick sixes like he gets prone to sometimes, it's going to be a long night. If he gets hot, you never know, especially if he gets help from his offensive line and his running backs. If he gets the blocking to throw and he gets the running from Mark Walton, we highlighted earlier in the pregame talking about Walton's role now with Kenyon Drake traded. Look, Walton, they put up a screen here at Heinz Field, a split screen of James Conner and Mark Walton. And James Conner gets a lot of hype for being a tough runner. He's averaging about 3.3 yards a carry. Mark Walton is averaging 4.5 yards a carry. The kid has skills, and he'll have a chance to showcase him now as pretty much the primary back along with Kalen Ballage.
4.5 yards a carry behind that offensive line, which has been horrendous this year. So I think not only does he have skill, Will, but he's also somebody who, he's kind of been through this, right? Like, he's already played behind poor offensive lines before, and I think he's somebody who he knows how to make that first guy miss, and that's something I think you were missing a bit with Kalen Ballage. And with Kenyon Drake, you know that he was shifty, but Walton, I think, gives you the best combination of everything. You see him catching passes out of the backfield. This is a big opportunity for him.
Yeah. And Clay, I lost you for a moment, but I just want to point out it comes with the opportunity against a very difficult defense. We know how good this defense is. It's going to be a real challenge. But the defense for the Dolphins, we talked earlier about the lack of creating turnovers. Well, the inability as well to finish off tackles has been a problem. And look, if they don't tackle well tonight, whether it be James Conner or whether it be the tight ends or receivers, the Dolphins are going to have a long night defensively.
For sure, and that's the biggest thing. Look, sometimes we make too much of this. Sometimes we make it too complicated. Blocking, tackling. You miss tackles like you do right there, boom, it's a touchdown the other way. So get back to the simple stuff. Tackle guys, bring them down, make good things happen defensively. Don't overcomplicate things.
It's as simple as that, and I think Brian Flores would send that simple message to his team. Those are your Nissan keys to the game tonight for the Miami Dolphins here on Monday Night Football, Local 10. We'll catch up more with Clay to get final thoughts when we come back here. And oh yeah, we'll see a familiar face in that Pittsburgh Steelers defense, Minkah Fitzpatrick, a first-round pick just a couple of years ago, as we know now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the storylines tonight, as the Steelers look to get back in the playoff chase, the Dolphins just try to get that first win of the season. Our Nissan Countdown to Kickoff show wraps up with final thoughts as Monday Night Football is right around the corner here on Local 10. As we come back to our final segment of your Nissan Countdown to Kickoff, this was Xavier Howard, talented Dolphins cornerback earlier, getting some pregame work in. He is active and expected to play tonight. He has been out with a knee injury, but Xavier is active tonight for the Fins. All right, Will Manso here back at Heinz Field, bringing in Clay Ferraro from our studios over in Pembroke Park. Hey, Clay, Xavier Howard, the impact he makes obviously is an impact because he is an impactful player as an All-Pro, but what do you make of him now with his role in this team, with everything that's going on with the tanking and the losing, as being that guy you count on, but unfortunately just not on a very good defense?
And that's part of the problem, Will. I think he's fantastic, but I think when you've got a bad defense and an overall bad team, it's hard to know what the guy next to you is going to do from one play to the next. They're also learning a brand new scheme, so everything that Xavier Howard does well, unless they're asking him to just go out there and man up the best receiver, you got to figure out what the guy next to you is doing. And so I think it creates some confusion, and it makes it hard for even a player as good as Xavier Howard to thrive.
Yeah, we've seen the communication issues in the secondary, and that's what happens when you don't have those kind of quality players. Now, one of the quality players they had was Minkah Fitzpatrick, who just a year ago the Dolphins drafted in the first round, traded for next year's first-round pick to Pittsburgh. He's been pretty good here, and it'll be interesting to see him in that black and yellow tonight, Clay.
Yeah, Will, I'm going to send it out with this. Minkah Fitzpatrick, in an interview with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette this week, he said it was a business decision to get out of Miami, and this is the quote that got me. The thing I like about here, we run what we run it well, we don't try to do too much. Will, back to you.
Yeah, that is the way that you end your Nissan Countdown to Kickoff show, because it has been a long season. And yeah, former players continue to pile it on. Clay, thanks so much. Of course, we'll chat in the postgame for Local 10 News following the game. But for now, that's it from Heinz Field as they're getting ready for some Monday Night Football. The Dolphins and the Steelers coming your way here on Local 10. Enjoy all the action. We'll see you after the game.
Thank you for watching the Nissan Countdown to Kickoff. Sponsored by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Yingling Traditional Lager. Elevate your taste. Spread your wings. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.